Hello, I'm Leanne Carmack, and along with Caitlin Bullard, I am co-president of the League of Women Voters of Murfreesboro and Rutherford County. On behalf of the League, I'm pleased to welcome you to this candidate forum, sponsored by the League in partnership with the City of Murfreesboro. You can watch this forum live on Murfreesboro City TV, Comcast Channels 3 and 1094, or stream it on Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, YouTube, Facebook, or the city's website. We are glad to offer these choices to help reach as many voters as possible. The League's forums are nonpartisan. We are not aligned with any candidate nor political party. The League believes that televised and streamed candidate forums provide an excellent opportunity for voters to become more familiar with the candidates and their positions. And if you agree with us, please express your opinion about the value of these forums to the individuals seeking your vote. In the upcoming August 6th election, citizens of Murfreesboro will be voting to elect 3 city council members and a city mayor. Local government plays a direct role in our daily lives by shaping public safety, schools, parks, and utilities. In Murfreesboro, the mayor and city council work together to pass ordinances, manage the budget, and guide community growth. Because these decisions have a direct impact on our infrastructure and our quality of life, being informed and participating in local elections is a powerful way to shape our city's future. Early voting starts July 17th and runs through August 1st. If you are interested in obtaining an absentee ballot for the August 6th election, please go to the Rutherford County Election Commission website to learn more about that process. We thank you for your attention as you hear these candidates introduce themselves and answer questions about pertinent issues facing our city. We hope you will find this forum useful in deciding which candidates you choose to support. Your vote gives you an opportunity to influence how government is conducted in Murfreesboro. Your vote matters. Thank you for joining us.
Good evening. My name is Caitlin Bullard, and I will serve as moderator for this candidate forum. I am joined tonight by Leanne Carmack, who will serve as our timekeeper. This forum is co-sponsored by the League of Women Voters of Murfreesboro and Rutherford County and the City of Murfreesboro. The League of Women Voters believes that candidate forums provide an excellent way for voters to become more familiar with candidates and their positions. It's my pleasure to welcome our candidates: Austin Maxwell, Madeline Scales-Harris, Jamie Averwater, Jacob Morphus, and Jeffrey Wooden, as well as our viewers at home for our program. This evening, we will hear from the candidates for Murfreesboro City Council. Before we begin, let me outline tonight's forum. Each candidate will be asked to make an opening statement in a 2-minute period. When all candidates have completed the opening statement, then several additional questions will be asked. Each candidate will have 1 minute to respond to the additional questions from our question bank. We will then move to approximately 2 pre-selected public questions, again with 1 minute per candidate. The final question will also serve as each candidate's closing remarks, and candidates will be allowed 2 minutes to answer that question. I want to thank all of our candidates for graciously accepting our invitation to participate. Speaking first is Jeffrey Wooden.
Good evening, everybody. First of all, thank you to the League of Women Voters and the City of Murfreesboro. The employees are helping to put this on tonight. I think this is a valuable forum, and also for all of you who have come out tonight, who are engaging in the civic process here in Murfreesboro. And I think that's a key component. People need to participate. You heard it in the introduction. Your vote does matter, and that's a message I've been spreading for a long time now. You've got to get out. You've got to make your voices heard. Your vote is your power. I believe that public service, being elected office, is a privilege, not a right, not something you're endowed with because you're smarter than everybody else, but it's all about that service back to the people, listening to constituents. I believe in problem solving, common sense leadership, not being involved in just the politics of the situation, right? I believe residents need to be heard. I believe that when things get planned, there needs to be advance notice, that people have a chance to have their voices heard, and that it matters. Do you always win? No. Do you always get what you want? No, but at least you've been heard. And then the city council owes you that transparency back, why decisions were made differently or why something fit a certain way. The way you do that, though, is you also hold your elected officials accountable. You don't just vote and then walk away. You stay involved. You find out when something's being discussed. You ask the right questions. You demand responses from your elected officials because that's your right. So going forward, that is the type of leadership I would bring to this position on the city council. I would bring more transparency, and I would bring more civic engagement. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Madeline Scales Harris.
Good afternoon. My name is Madeline Scales Harris, and I'm seeking re-election to the Murfreesboro City Council. I serve God. We serve God by serving our fellow man, and I am a servant to the people, you of Murfreesboro. And I try my best to be the best, and I should be the best because I was trained by the best. My parents, Robert T. 90, he served on the Murfreesboro City Council for 24 years, and he was the vice mayor for a couple of those years. He was the first African-American elected in the entire South since Reconstruction. My mom, Mary Scales, she was the first African-American black female on the city council, and she served 4 terms. They always embedded in me service. That's our legacy, service. Everything that we do, it was service, give. So that's what I want to do. I want to serve you, the citizens of Murfreesboro. I want you to talk to me, tell me what you want. And those of you that know me know I'm not afraid to speak up. And I will speak up because I want to be your voice. I have 1 son and 2 beautiful grandbabies. And that keeps me busy. But, you know, I'm looking at young people now. I want to see more young people get involved in our government. And I would like to keep a female on the city council because it matters. I was the only female for 10 years. And men think differently than we do. And that's not a negative, they just do. And I think we should keep a local person always on the city council, someone that was born and raised here, that knows the history of our city. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Jacob Morphus.
Good evening. My name is Jacob Morphus, and I am asking for your vote for City Council. Thank you to the League of Women Voters for putting on this forum, to the residents for engaging, and thank you to my fellow candidates for being here. I'd like to say to each of you that regardless of the election results, I'm sincerely enthused to serve alongside you to make sure that our city becomes a better and better place for years to come. I was born and raised in Middle Tennessee. I've lived in Murfreesboro for the last 8 years. I lived in Rutherford County for the last 27 years. I graduated from MTSU twice. I'm a man of faith, fiscally conservative, and a servant leader through and through. My career is in nonprofit leadership, where I serve on several boards and currently work in senior management for an agency in the counter-human trafficking space. I live for service above self, day in and day out. It's not just my weekend gig, but it's my calling God has put on my life. With the wonderful people of this city, this community convicts me to step up and want to serve in this role. Murfreesboro is my forever home and is where I plan to raise a family. I will go to work for you because I have a vested interest in ensuring our community thrives permanently and never stops improving. Thank you, and I would appreciate your vote.
Thank you. Speaking next, we have Jamie Averwater.
Thank you. Thank you to the League for hosting this event. My name is Jamie Averwater. I proudly serve the City of Murfreesboro as a City Councilwoman along with Ms. Scales Harris. I am the other woman that came along after 10 years. I'm really proud of the progress that we've made as a City Council, and I'm here to ask for your vote to serve another 4-year term. I'm a Rutherford County native. I'm a small business owner, and I'm raising my family right here in Murfreesboro. Our kid attends Blackman High School, which is a great education, and conveniently he can walk from our house, which is fantastic as well. I've been on the west side for quite a few years now since college, and so I've seen firsthand the growth that Murfreesboro has experienced. And as our city continues to grow, we need leaders who can balance progress with thoughtful planning and responsible use of our taxpayer dollars, because everyone in this room, I believe, is a resident of Murfreesboro, and you pay property taxes. I have a proven track record on the City Council of holding developers accountable. I'm a strong advocate for our public safety officials. Our men and women in uniform are the heart and soul of this community, and I believe that we should serve them and honor them in every way possible. I'm a small business owner. Like I mentioned, I have 20 employees here in the city, and I know firsthand what it takes to make payroll and how important a budget is. And the most important part of being on City Council is balancing that budget. And it takes that experience of a business owner, but that compassion of a servant to be able to be in this role. And that is why I'm honored to do it. So I'm asking for your vote to serve another 4-year term on August the 6th. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Austin Maxwell.
Good evening. I'm Austin Maxwell. First off, thank you to the League of Women Voters for putting on this forum, and also thank you to all the candidates for putting your name on the ballot. It takes courage to run for office, so thank you for putting your name on the ballot. Me. You want to know about me. So in the simplest of terms, I have a heart of a servant. I was born and raised in Knoxville, Tennessee. I attended the University of Tennessee. I met my wife there, Claire Daniel, who is a native of Murfreesboro. We got married in 1990 at First Baptist Church, just here on Main Street. We traveled the Southeast from 91 to 98 as my career in pharmaceuticals took off. Came back here in 1998 when Murfreesboro was a relatively still small town with 60,000 people. And we've watched it grow as we raised our 4 boys who attended city schools and county schools, all graduating from Riverdale High School. I had the opportunity to get not only my undergrad from UT, but my master's from MTSU. And then I also had the opportunity to go back into the military. I had served up until around 2000, but that was pre-9/11. 9/11 happened, and I got back into the military and served in Afghanistan and Iraq, where I was wounded. Retired in 2017, ran for city council in 2022 because I have the heart of a servant. I wanted to serve the city that's been so good to me and my family. And I would humbly ask for your vote so that I can continue to serve all of the citizens of Murfreesboro for the next 4 years.
Thank you. We will now move into the next section, which is our questions. I am happy to repeat the questions for any of you, so just let me know if you'd like me to do so. We will change the order each time that we ask the questions. So our first question is, in your own words, tell me how City Council works. And we will start with Mr. Maxwell. You will have 1 minute.
Okay. In my own words, how does City Council work, or how does city government works? Our city government works well because it's not a strong mayor form of government. It's a hybrid form where it is a part-time city council with a part-time mayor, but a full-time city manager. And a strong form of government with an elected mayor that is possibly changing every 4 years, you're going to potentially get changes every 4 years if that mayor is not elected. The good thing is that we have very steady hands here on our city government, on our board, and on our council. And so we take a very earnest look through the boards and commissions, through the various departments to make sure that we're always managing the tax dollars and doing everything proper to make sure that this is the best decision to ensure the quality of life for the citizens of Murfreesboro. So it's a hybrid form, but it's a great form of government because it's continued to work for many years.
Ms. Scales Harris, you have 1 minute.
Thank you. Our city works by everyone working together. You know, you can't have this one doing that, this one doing that. We have to work together. We are local government, and we provide the services, and we make decisions every meeting that has a great impact on every citizen's daily life. I fully support all of our employees, and I would personally put them up against any employees in the city, in the United States. The key is communication. Our city manager does an excellent job keeping us informed on the different issues and things that are coming up. So my formula is, for the government and how it works, the city of Murfreesboro, okay, great elected officials plus staff plus employees equals the city of Murfreesboro's government.
Ms. Averwater, 1 minute.
Sure. Well, we are a city manager model, which means you do have 7 council members, 6 of which are elected at large, and 1 is the mayor. So we do have Mayor McFarland and the 6 council members that serve the entire city of Murfreesboro. There are not districts here. Sometimes people will ask me, well, I live on the north side. Can I vote for you? And absolutely you can. And I think the at-large system works very well because you as a citizen and as a voter in Murfreesboro have 7 points of contact to be able to help with your issue. I've taken calls on a Friday when the dump truck didn't pick up a man's trash, and he said, can they turn around? And I said, well, let me see what I can do. If not, I'll come and get it myself. Thankfully, they turned around. But the city works, like Ms. Scales Harris said, because we have great employees, and to keep those employees, we have to make sure our pay stays competitive with surrounding areas. That's all the way from public safety to our facilities. So the city works as long as we pay our employees and we can keep them here. And I'm honored to be one of those 7 on city council.
Thank you. Mr. Morphus, 1 minute.
So simply put, the city manager answers to the council and manages city staff and day-to-day operations with the departments. The city departments administer services such as first responders, water, sewer, transportation, parks, and so on, while the city council sets policy, makes zoning decisions, and establishes priorities of the city. But at its core, city government is neighbors working together to accomplish what we can't alone. The council's job is to listen to those neighbors, steward resources wisely, and protect and improve the community. It should be a mechanism that translates community values into actionable outcomes. When city government works well, people enjoy safer neighborhoods, reliable services, and good quality of life as they build their families. And that is what we should aim for with every policy decision, budget approval, or ordinance we pass.
Mr. Wooden.
So you've heard basically what the city council or city government does, right? Basically, it sets priorities, it balances budgets, it passes ordinances, it helps long-term direction to the city, all very important activities. What you have to keep in mind, though, it is the way we're functioned here is basically a mayor, city council, executive director, and a very professional city staff. My interactions with the city staff here have been outstanding, and I would put them up against any city professional anywhere in the country, right? But you have to manage that day-to-day life, right? And it's all about how do we make life better for our citizens? How do we do planning? How do we put things in a perspective so that citizens see transparency and citizens think their daily lives are made better? I mean, at the end of the day, it's about proactive and responsive government. It's not about politics. It's about making daily life better for our residents.
Thank you. Our next question is, what criteria would you use when deciding whether a proposed expenditure is a good investment of taxpayer dollars? And this time we'll begin with Madeline Scales Harris, and you'll have 1 minute.
Can you repeat the question one more time?
Absolutely. What criteria would you use when deciding whether a proposed expenditure is a good investment of taxpayer dollars?
Well, I would look at the expenditures as, are we equally dividing out things that we should divide out equally? Are we getting input from people? Are we acting, are we listening? There's a difference in listening and hearing. Are we just hearing people? When we hear, we don't react. But when we listen, that makes us react. So I think it's very important that we do that. Sometimes we can become complacent. And I think in government, that is a dangerous road to go down, being complacent. I think we should always be open.
Ms. Saberwater.
Yeah, so again, City Council, the main role of our 7 members is to pass a budget, which this year is $417 million. That is a very big budget, which means there are a lot of expenditures in that budget. And we do, on council, vote on a vast majority of those expenditures, as well as each of the departments' budgets. And so when we're looking at those expenditures, for me personally, it's important that I know the value to the majority of the residents. So we get asked all the time, I get messages, well, can you build me a cricket field? Or can you buy this property and make it a little park? Well, that piece of property maybe is in the county and isn't accessible by many city residents. So we get a lot of those requests. And it's important to assess whether or not it will serve the majority of the residents. Barfield Park is a great example of that. It is very easily accessible from many parts of the city. And now we're building a new park on Veterans Park. And so that will be accessible for all the people on the west side. So looking at those factors is very important.
Mr. Morphus.
I would judge expenditures by the actual need. Do we actually need it, or are we passing it because we can pass it? I'm looking at return on investment and whether it supports city priorities. Good use of taxpayer dollars should solve a real problem. It should be financially sustainable and produce measurable surplus value for residents. I would ask, is it necessary? Is it the best solution? Is it the best bang for buck, and can we afford it responsibly? If a project improves safety, infrastructure, efficiency, and will deliver measurable benefit to the city, that's when it deserves strong consideration.
Mr. Wooden.
Yeah, I think taxpayers deserve disciplined, thoughtful decision-making. You know, every expenditure should pass some common sense tests. Does it solve a real problem or meet a need in the community? Does it improve our public safety, our infrastructure, quality of life, our long-term sustainability? And what's the return on investment for our residents? Not just financially, but in overall outcomes. Are we maintaining what we already have? Are we taking on a commitment that is in excess of what we can do? Can it be phased in more gradually, right? What are the long-term maintenance costs, not just upfront price tag? Government should not simply spend money because it's available. At the same time, being fiscally responsible does not mean refusing to invest. But sometimes money up front is money well spent. For me, it comes down to stewardship. It's not government money, it's taxpayer money, and elected officials have a responsibility to treat it carefully.
Mr. Maxwell.
So the criteria to use when deciding, whether a proposed expenditure is a good use of taxpayer dollars, I'm going to look at, does it benefit the majority of the citizens of Murfreesboro, and do the numbers support the decision? A good example would be our firefighters. We were losing, 20, 25 firefighters a year at a cost of $250,000 to train those firefighters. That's over $5 million a year. But if you simply invest $500,000 more in salaries and benefits to retain those firefighters, you have a fully staffed fire department, and you're not having to spend money over and over and over. So that's a good expenditure right there to invest in our people. Another example would be where I voted no to annex 2 miles of Highway 99. That 2 miles to annex that road would be a cost of $10 million to the citizens of Murfreesboro. The only person that benefited was a developer, so he could get 50 more houses and $100,000 in tax revenue to the city. So I was a no on that. So if it makes sense and the numbers support it, then let's support it and vote for it if it benefits us all.
Thank you. In the next question, there are two parts. So the first part is, what standards would you use to evaluate AI data center proposals? And then the second part is, where do you see opportunities for Murfreesboro to responsibly use AI in local government? And we'll start with Ms. Aberwater.
Okay, I'm sorry, can we, one more time?
Of course.
I want to make some notes here.
What standards would you use to evaluate AI data center proposals?
Got it.
And where do you see opportunities for Murfreesboro to responsibly use AI in local government?
Perfect. You don't mean AI data centers, you mean AI like in.
In the latter part of the
Just
question.
wanted to be
Yes.
clear, thank you.
You're going to have to repeat it for me, too.
No
You're
problem.
throwing a fast one there on us, aren't you? I like that.
That wasn't the goal.
That's okay. That's okay. Well, I think it's a great question. We've seen a lot on the news about the possible data center going into Nashville, which totally surprised me. Right there next to the zoo. I can't think of a worse place to put a data center other than maybe in the city of Murfreesboro. I think with our landfill, we have enough problems around here. And so I would not support any sort of data center coming to the city limits of Murfreesboro. And in fact, if it were to come to Rutherford County, I would oppose that as well to any extent that I am able. So as for opportunities to use AI in the city, we know that AI can make us more efficient. I am not opposed to using AI to help you craft an email a little bit more kindly, or today I used it because I couldn't think of a synonym for a word. But I don't think that it should replace employees. I will not be doing that in my business, and I will not support that in the city of Murfreesboro. We must protect our employees and let them know that their job will not be replaced by AI. As for data centers in the city, absolutely not. I'm so glad you asked that question, because if they put data centers next to the animals in the zoo, I will be so sad. I signed that petition, and I hope you all did too.
Thank you. Mr. Morphus, would you like the question repeated as well?
I think I remember it.
Okay.
Jamie, I'm with you. I signed that petition too last night. No for AI data centers, period, in Murfreesboro. I think I'm all about weighing pros and cons, cost-benefit analysis, et cetera. But as far as the impact on our land and our community, it's a no for me. Responsible use of AI in government. So in the spirit of being proactive for the future in all things, planning for infrastructure, planning for safety, et cetera, we should be looking at the onset of AI where we can, where it can benefit our community. As long as there are safeguards in place that guard for privacy and individual rights, I am for at least the assessment of using it in a responsible way.
Thank you. Mr. Wooden?
So I agree, and I signed that petition as well. As it's currently envisioned and as current data centers are currently built, they are a disaster. Someday data centers will become more of a way of life, but lots of things need to change before that happens. And that means better infrastructure, separate water, what's an impact on electric utilities. All of those need to be considered. None of those have been answered properly. And the communities that accepted data centers because, oh, we're going to have jobs, have fallen short in a big way. I think AI itself is highly usable and beneficial. It increases efficiency. I agree, we do not want it to replace people, but trend analysis, call systems. You know, I teach at MTSU now, and we talk about AI all the time with our students being responsible. So it's a great efficiency tool. It just can't be a standalone decision maker.
Thank you. Mr. Maxwell?
Give me the second one again, the
Sure.
latter part.
The second part of that question is, where do you see opportunities for Murfreesboro to responsibly use AI in local government?
Okay. To the first part around, AI and data centers, we actually have one here in Murfreesboro. It's a very small one. It's 10,000 square feet. And so to frame that up, I think if we look at any sort of AI data centers, the council should have some sort of restriction in terms of how large or small. Typically if you look at these ones going up in Middle Tennessee and the Nashville area, they're very large. They're 150,000 square feet, 200,000 square feet. The one that is here right now is a very small one, 10,000 square feet. That being said, they should be self-contained within a warehouse to where you don't see it. They should be responsible for their own electricity generation and infrastructure. That can't be passed along to the consumer. They should have a self-sealing water capacity. That way it doesn't use lots of water over and over. And then there should be a higher impact fee on it. If they truly want to come here, we'll hit you with a nice impact fee so you can help pay for schools and roads. Lastly, I think government should leverage AI in order to help our people continue to be better and better.
All right. Ms. Scales Harris.
Okay. AI, I believe, and I don't know that much about it, but I believe it's crippling our community. It's crippling communities. For instance, I said something when I was helping a young lady with her homework, and she said, well, let me see what that sounds like. And then she repeated it, and it didn't say what I said. So sometimes the connotation can be different. It's just like you can't go in a doctor's office. I was in a doctor's office the other day, and everybody in there were on their phones. We don't talk to each other. We don't communicate because even the cars now are driving themselves. So I need to know more about it before I can go along with it, and it definitely will need to be monitored. And when you're talking about taking people's jobs, that's serious because a lot of people are losing their jobs. After a while, we're going to be walking around like robots, you know. So I think that's something we seriously, as a council, if it comes our way, need to look at the impact it's going to have on our citizens.
Okay. Our next question, if elected, what is one specific accomplishment you hope to achieve during your term, and what steps would you take to make sure that it happens? And we'll start with Jacob Morphus.
If elected, my hope is that we will measurably reduce traffic times with focused execution of infrastructure planning, where residents can truly report a quality of life improvement as they navigate our city. Staying on track and making improvements with current city planning, leading to meaningful, functional developments that our city can enjoy for years to come. And we do that through intense collaboration with all industry leaders, public officials, and most importantly, our residents. To further, just one more, I would love to see the City Council foster an environment of connectedness with residents. For instance, I admire our nonprofit ecosystem here and our small business network. Even though they technically compete for resources respectively, they work great together. And I think we can mirror that as an extension of our community with city government and residents as a nonpartisan body and with the great city that we work in.
Mr. Wooden.
I think what I'd like to achieve is a stronger alignment between our growth, infrastructure planning, and public transparency. Residents should have a greater confidence that development decisions are tied to roads, public safety, utilities, quality of life considerations in a visible and understanding way. The first step is listening and understanding where the gaps are from both residents and city staff. Second, I would support reviewing planning and coordination processes that identify opportunities for improvement. Third, communication needs to improve so residents better understand what decisions are being made and why. I want the residents to feel that city government is planning ahead, not constantly reacting after problems occur. For me, success would be helping create a Murfreesboro that continues to grow while still feeling manageable, connected, and responsive to its residents.
Mr. Maxwell.
For me, for this next term, I'd like to see us create some sort of position or department, call it the Department of Economic Development. It should be a person that their sole responsibility is to go out and work hand in hand with the Chamber of Commerce, with the Industrial Development Board, to find those corporate entities that we want here in Murfreesboro. We still don't have that flagship corporate entity. If we were to get a 500, person type corporate entity of white collar jobs, think of the economic impact it would have on our city in terms of better paying jobs, igniting the housing market, and just doing a lot of overall good. But we can do that if we have that person that is solely focused on bringing that to the city of Murfreesboro versus in the past, we've kind of taken a hodgepodge approach where it's been passed off to various department heads. The city manager has too much on him to pursue that. We really need a dedicated person to pursue that in the city of Murfreesboro if we truly want to get that corporate entity to come to Murfreesboro.
Ms. Scales Harris.
Yes. I would like to continue to be the voice and the choice of the people, and I will not be and never have been influenced by any issue than what I have done my research on. I still like to hopefully see that people see that when issues come up, I do my homework, I do my research, I listen to what they have to say, and I vote based on what's best for the community and not best for a certain group of people. I promise that I'll do my best to represent the city, but I wish I could change our political atmosphere in Murfreesboro. In fact, I just wish that we could just come together, there'll be no parties, and we just get along as God would have us to do. Because, you know, whether we know it or not, and all of our days are getting shorter, but at the end, we're going to come together. So I would just love to see us come together.
Ms. Averwater.
So thankfully, the last 4 years, our city council has made progress on closing Middle Point landfill, but we are not there yet. The city council annexed the landfill so that now we're able to cite Republic for nuisance, which is what they are in our community. But we have to work to not only close the landfill permanently, but find an alternative of where we're going to take our trash. Because if we can't take it to Middle Point right in our backyard, it has to go somewhere. So I'm committed to continuing to find alternatives to that. There's this amazing program, I've driven out to East Tennessee to see it, where it turns a bag of household trash into biofuel. And I have a thing of it sitting on my desk, and I wish that I had brought it because it's really cool. But it turns it into biofuel, which is then sold for fuel. So my number one priority the next 4 years will be to close Middle Point landfill, but also find us an alternative to where we're going to take our household trash.
All right. Thank you. Our next question is, what is one city policy that you believe deserves serious review or reconsideration within the next 4 years? And first up is going to be Mr. Wooden.
So I think this goes back to something I've already alluded to, and I think growth and infrastructure planning need to be synchronized. Okay? You know, I know all of you, I know I do, feel like roads, traffic improvement, public services are constantly trying to catch up to development, that they occurred as an afterthought when development was approved. Whether that's actually a full perception or not remains to be seen, but many residents feel that way and it needs to be addressed. But I don't think it means we stop growth. That's inevitable, right? But we have to ensure how growth happens responsibly and in a way that is positive to our quality of life. I think we owe residents that confidence that decisions are being made with the future in mind, not simply reacting to today's pressures or today's, shiny object.
Mr. Maxwell.
So instead of one, I wrote down three. So I'll just, as quickly as I can tell you, one of them would be the recently passed ethics policy. Councilman Wright kind of spearheaded that. I think it's a step in the right direction, but it only has a 1-year clawback. And I think personally, Sean and I agree on this, it should have a 2-year clawback, meaning if you're voting on something, you should abstain from that vote if it's going to personally involve you, that project, over sometime the next 2 years instead of 1 year. So I would vote to have that ethics policy strengthened a little bit more in that manner. Second thing would be is that the impact fees will be coming up. They should be raised. They should be raised a little bit more to help pay for the growth. Growth should pay for growth. And then third, we have a city that has a model that has worked well, but the city has gone from 60,000 to 160,000. I think it's time that we as a council take a look at some form of actual districts on city council with some at-large and some permanent dedicated districts, because there are other cities like Knoxville, Chattanooga, and Clarksville have that model. We're one of the last citywide type models. Thank you.
Ms. Scales Harris.
I can't think of write off any policy that directly needs changing, because a lot of the policies that we have on the books now are at least 30 years old. So really, all of them need to be reviewed. And sometimes we don't know the effectiveness of it until a situation comes up. We go to the policy, and it's outdated. So I think we need to update that. Technology has come so far that maybe some ways to increase efficiency, like we were talking about the AI, but we're looking at zoning, landfill, and more policies will be updated, and these things won't be a big controversy issue when it comes to the council. And it's always good to just keep reviewing, and some policies need to be deleted because they have nothing to do with what we're doing now in Murfreesboro.
Ms. Saberwater.
Yeah, so the ethics policy is definitely a great thing that has happened to our city, and I concur that I think it should be more strenuous. I think the concept that our elected officials are possibly being persuaded by larger powers or financial powers, which we have seen in some elections, is unacceptable. And I would very much welcome strengthening that policy and also looking at additional options for ensuring that our elected officials are honest and transparent when they sit up here each week, every Thursday to vote, because we should be doing what is in the best interests of our constituents, of our citizens, of our neighbors. And that is what I've heard when I've gone door to door, is that neighbors are saying, well, I don't know what the city council does because we can't get anywhere in under 30 minutes. And I'm right there with you. I drive these roads too. And I want to be able to strongly and with conviction say that I know that we're acting in everyone's best interest. And so I would very much welcome strengthening that ethics policy or any other options that we have. We have a new city attorney as of the last few months, and he is going back and reviewing some of our policies and procedures. And I very much look forward to seeing what he comes up with.
Mr. Morphus.
Yes, one area I believe deserves consistent review is how we align long-range planning, infrastructure investment, and public engagement. Our current city planning envision growth supported by adequate infrastructure, predictable development, and strong community involvement. We've invested in roads, utilities, public safety, but residents want to know that we're staying ahead of the curve proactively rather than just catching up to it. As we continue to grow, I think it's healthy to continually evaluate whether capital investment priorities are keeping pace with that vision and whether residents feel involved in those decisions ongoingly. Having to answer to the public about outcomes and progress helps residents understand how today's investments benefit a better Murfreesboro for tomorrow. And that should be an ongoing commitment to accountability and constant improvement.
All right, thank you all. So we will now move to the questions submitted by the public. These questions were pre-selected by the League of Women Voters. The first of these questions is, given the rapid development and growth of the city and the subsequent challenges that have come with it, do you believe that the citizens of Murfreesboro that have lived here for 15 years or longer are happier now than they were decades ago? If so, why? And if not, how do you plan to rectify that? And we will start with Mr. Maxwell.
Can you repeat that again?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. It's a lot to it.
It is a lot.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no problem. From the top. Given the rapid development and growth of the city and the subsequent challenges that have come with that, do you believe the citizens of Murfreesboro that have lived here for at least 15 years are happier now than they were decades ago? If so, why? And if not, how do you plan to rectify that?
Okay, good question. The residents have lived here 15 years or longer, so we're going back to 2011. I'm going to say no. And part of the reason why I ran 4 years ago is that we need to start tackling some of these projects that need to be tackled, like a West Side Sportscom. It's unacceptable for a city of this size not to have a Sportscom type facility on the west side for our residents over there. If you're on the east side of town, you've got one. Everything's good. That's one thing right off the bat. We need more ball fields. We're going to get some of that solved here pretty soon with Veterans Park, but we need more and more ball fields. We need sports comm. We're going to have additional things that are coming, such as a police precinct and additional schools. So we're going to have to tackle that aggressively and start getting those services instead of just waiting for something to roll off on the bond market. We have to have that courageous conversation, say, can we tackle it now? Because it's truly a need, and it's something that I want to see happen in the next 4 years, especially for the west side.
Ms. Scales Harris.
Can you repeat the question?
Sure thing. Given the rapid development and growth of the city and the subsequent challenges that have come with it, do you believe that the citizens of Murfreesboro who have lived here for at least 15 years are happier now than they were decades ago? If so, why? And if not, how do you plan to rectify that?
Okay. Since I've been here 74 years, am I happy? It's kind of difficult to answer that because, number one, the people that are my age and older or some younger, it's difficult sometimes for us to grasp all the new changes. For instance, I'm a long-termer here, and the long-termers, we really built the city, so to speak. You know, back then, decisions were made that are impacting us today. And we want to protect our property, and we want a better quality of life, whereas the new people, they come in and they want housing, they want different public services, and the developers, they come and they look for opportunities to build spaces and zoning changes, and it's just a lot to comprehend. But as I think that we're getting better as a city because we are talking to each other. We're having more town meetings. We're getting your opinions. And a lot of times I don't think like Jamie and Austin because they think I'm old. You know, that's old for old folk. So, but, you know, we just need to come together and communicate because we think differently, but we still can be on the same page.
Thank you. Ms. Aberwater?
You know, I don't think it's that people who have been here 15 years or longer are unhappy. I think we have better education, better amenities, better job opportunities. What I think they're disappointed in is how we've failed to prepare for the growth over the last 15 years. We've seen a 12 to 15% increase in our population just since 2020. And 1 in 4 of those people are children. So we need to be better funding our schools, better funding our public safety officers. So the people that have lived here for 15, 20 years, again, I've been in Rutherford County my whole life, I don't think we're mad at the growth. We're mad at the traffic. And we're mad at the school shortages and the ball field shortages. And so I think that we should say that now or never. Now is the time. If we want to continue to grow and recruit more jobs, then we have to make sure that we're prepared for the traffic and prepared for the hotel rooms. And so that is what I'm committed to doing. We've made some progress in 4 years. We funded $140 million in road projects that have expanded over 35 roads, including Medical Center and North Thompson Lane. We've worked with TDOT on Old Fort Parkway and Highway 99, but there's still a lot left to do. And that's what we have to work on.
Mr. Morphus.
Yes, I do think they're less happy because of the onslaught of growth in such a rapid time frame. The community dynamic changes for you overnight. All of a sudden, you can't get to across town and back without road rage. But I think as a council, we should realize that no one group will own the future of Murfreesboro. Long-term residents deserve respect. New residents deserve a voice, and businesses need a stable environment to thrive. And developers should be expected to treat Murfreesboro like it's their home and not someone else's. But I think how we combat and make everyone happy, especially the long-timers, is maintaining our city's character should go into all decision-making. Again, we don't want to just grow for the sake of growth and be any town USA. What current residents already love about Murfreesboro, new residents will too, and this will best serve all parties involved.
Mr. Wooden.
I definitely think the residents are less happy now than they were. I don't dispute there's been improvements in school systems and other things and the quality and the variety of jobs, but the growth that has been unplanned, the growth that has not been linked to infrastructure, the quality of that life, the meaning of the life that many of these long-term residents love about this place, the thing we loved about it and why we moved here, seems to be slipping out of their grasp. Long-term residents deserve to know that the character of their neighborhoods, their public safety, and their infrastructure are going to be protected. New residents need access and opportunities. Businesses need an environment where they can succeed. But before you do all of that, you've got to listen. You've got to have better planning. You've got to have better infrastructure. You've got to pay attention to your public safety. And you balance that, and it starts with planning and transparency on what needs to be done, what pace growth should take, how do we take care of our schools, emergency services, water, traffic impacts. All of those need to be discussed and taken into account before we continue to improve or approve continued growth.
Thank you. Before I read this final question, I want to remind you all that with this being the final question, you will include your closing remarks with this question, and you will have 2 minutes to do so. So the final question is, Middle Tennessee State University is one of Murfreesboro's greatest assets, yet many residents feel that the city and the university could be more closely connected. With a new MTSU president beginning in January, what specific opportunities would you pursue to strengthen the partnership between the city and the university, and how would residents benefit from that relationship? And for this question, we're going to start with Ms. Scales Harris, and you will have 2 minutes. Please include your closing remarks.
One more time.
Yes, ma'am. MTSU is one of Murfreesboro's greatest assets, yet many residents feel that the city and the university could be more closely connected. With a new MTSU president beginning in January, what specific opportunities would you pursue to strengthen the partnership between the city and the university, and how would residents benefit from that relationship?
Well, whether we realize it or not, we are blessed to have a university that has been branded the #1 university in the state. And look at the resources that we are missing out on. We can have partnerships, we can have interns in different businesses, kids that have different interests, like I was talking to a young man, he wants to be a bricklayer. And I said, well, maybe MTSU can help for kids who can't afford to go to school. Maybe they can have some little classes or something for the kids who want to go into different occupations, because now these degrees in certain things, you get out and you can't get a job. So a lot of these vocational things are happening. I think we need to take advantage of that. I am asking for your support. I know Murfreesboro. I know the pulse of Murfreesboro. I know how it's changed. When I grew up here, I could not go in a restaurant to eat. I could not go in a theater without going through the back door. I had to drink out of the colored water fountain. And that was rough. But in April, my whole life changed to 64 when my dad was elected. We had a cross burning in our yard, bricks going through our window, and all kind of names he was called. But through it all, our parents would not let us be negative because they were not negative. So my dad used to say, come, let us reason together. I need your support. I'm running this time in memory of my parents because I sit on their shoulders. I don't stand, I sit because I'm more secure. And I would appreciate your support, and I will continue to be the same person that speaks up, and I would love for you to make me your candidate of choice, because I will definitely be your voice in this next coming election and in this next term. And please, let's get together as a community and let's communicate better, because we don't know what you want until you talk to us. So let's just make this a community. My mom on her deathbed gave me a poem, Don't Quit by Edgar Quest, and it said, quit, stop if you must and take a rest, but don't you quit. Murfreesboro, I'm not quitting.
Thank you. Ms. Saberwater, you'll have 2 minutes, and include your closing remarks, please.
Thank you. I'm proud to be a graduate of Middle Tennessee State University. I think it is a fantastic place to receive an education for an affordable price. May not be very affordable much these days, but it is more affordable than most other universities in the state. For those that need a 4-year degree, MTSU is a great option, but the partnership between the city and MTSU needs to improve. We need to be sure that MTSU is recruiting people and keeping our community safe at the same time. So when they recruit people to come to MTSU, if they are overpopulated, it brings overcrowding to Murfreesboro. They are needing our resources from a public safety perspective more than we would like. But ultimately, I'm proud that they are here in our community, and I look forward to building the relationship further with the new president. And I'm proud of what I've done the last 4 years. I have a proven track record of supporting our public safety officials for holding developers accountable and protecting taxpayer money. I have voted to fund 22 additional public safety officers this year. I've worked alongside Chief McCluskey to secure $250,000 in federal grant money to put life-saving machines on all of our fire trucks. We have now equipped every single police vehicle with an AED machine. So when police officers respond to a 911 call to someone's home, to your mother's home, to your sibling's home, they can issue a life-saving shock. Those machines will save lives, and that is because of the work our council has done the last 4 years. But there is still so much more to do. We've talked about roads. We've talked about paying our public safety officials more money. We have to focus on those things to keep the future of Murfreesboro what it is now and what we love to see, so that in 15 years from now, there's a council candidate sitting up here who can say, I know they're proud of what we've done the last 15 years. I'm proud of what I've done the last 4 years, and that's why I'm asking for your vote on August 6th to spend 4 more years up here on this council making Murfreesboro a great place to live and raise a family. Thank you.
Mr. Morphus, you'll have 2 minutes, and please include your closing remarks.
Yes. So I'm a proud MTSU alum. I do think it's a wonderful thing that we have MTSU as a university here in town. It can be a positive source, a positive engine for talent entering our community, a positive engine for growth. I would think about consulting with our small business network to create vocational programs, possibly internship pipelines that can set the infrastructure in place that will feed new, qualified, hungry talent into our workforce early on, and that will set the tone for the years ahead. MTSU is a big reason I was compelled to settle in Murfreesboro. I want to foster a positive relationship with the new president and keep that relationship going strong. In closing, thank everyone again for tonight. As I mentioned, I plan to live and invest in Murfreesboro and raise a family here. I'm not just thinking about the next 4 years or re-election at some point later. I will labor over council decisions like the next 25 years depend on it, because it probably does. To that end, I believe the city council shouldn't just lead by their own opinions and views, but actually represent the needs and perspectives of our residents. That said, I want to listen to you, and I want to learn from you. So you can reach me at jacobmorphus@gmail.com or 615-997-0846. I am passionate for our community. I am hungry to serve, and I will be grateful for your vote. God bless.
Thank you. Mr. Woden, you'll have 2 minutes to answer the questions and deliver your closing remarks.
Well, I have to be careful since I now work at MTSU, but I also think that's one of the indicators. I accepted a job at MTSU instead of moving out of state because I believe in Murfreesboro and I believe in the opportunities. I think the school and the city need to have a closer relationship. There's been some bad blood in the past. It's common knowledge, but there are so many things that the school can offer the city and that the city can offer the school, from research to planning programs and processes to internships. It's a free pool to bring experience across the board, not just in government, but in how a city operates. Things like public safety, education. There are a realm of possibilities, and I think the city and the school need that closer relationship. And when elected and on the city council, I will work to foster that relationship within the bounds of being an employee at the time, but I have no problem. As far as I'm running, again, thank you to the League of Women Voters and to all of you for participating, to the candidates who have participated. As I said before, I'm running because I believe public service is a privilege, not a right. I think Murfreesboro is a strong, growing community and needs a strong city council to support that, right? Growth brings challenges. The city council needs to be up to those challenges. A leadership that's focused on practical problem-solving, responsible decision-making, right? Public safety, transparency, protecting quality of life. I come with a military background as a naval aviator, a combat-proven aviator, emergency management, strong leadership, making complex decisions in time-sensitive, making those compromises. I understand all of that, and that's what I want to bring. I don't want to make politics more complicated. I believe government works best when leaders listen, communicate honestly, and ask tough questions and focus on results. You don't have to agree with me every time. I understand that, but I hope you understand that I'm committed to listening to you, working hard and helping Murfreesboro remain a community we're proud to call home. Thank you, and on August 6th, I'd really appreciate your support.
Mr. Maxwell, you'll have 2 minutes.
Can you read it one more time?
Yes.
Because so much has elapsed.
Absolutely. MTSU is one of Murfreesboro's greatest assets, yet many residents feel that the city and the university could be more closely connected. With a new MTSU president beginning in January, what specific opportunities would you pursue to strengthen the partnership between the city and the university, and how would residents benefit from that relationship?
Okay, thank you. So change is good. Dr. McPhee had a great run at MTSU. But like anything with change comes an opportunity, a fresh start between the city and MTSU. And, if you think about MTSU, there's 20,000 students over there. It's really a city within a city. I went there and I got my master's degree. I did it at night. But if you have a positive working relationship and you kind of focus on, 3 things such as the following: internships with city government, internships with the police, internships with fire, internships within the administration. That's going to be an opportunity to find the best and brightest and keep them here in Murfreesboro. You previously heard me talk about the Office of Economic Development. That's something we should really bring in. Think about if there is the next Steve Jobs over at MTSU. Imagine the impact if we brought him in and his ideas stayed in Murfreesboro and the economic impact that could bring. We've been fortunate that, the Ronnie Barretts of the world that invented, the Barrett, firearms stayed right here in Murfreesboro. But if we embrace, entrepreneurship and bring in the best and brightest from MTSU as a city, we can help steward that. Lastly, communication. Communication to the delegation, our state representatives, and as a council that we need them fighting for MTSU. I've been blessed to live here since 1998. I've been blessed to be your councilman for the last 4 years. I'm humbly asking for your vote on August the 6th. Early voting begins July 17th and continues through August 1st. I'm proud of the work we've done as a council over the last 4 years to fully fund our first responders, reduce crimes, invest $140 million in 35 road projects, and keep Murfreesboro moving forward in the right direction. But our work isn't done. We need a sports com on the west side. We need a corporate entity to come. And we need to tackle our solid waste, which would possibly be, to Councilman Aberwater's point earlier, perhaps we take it and we truck it down to Morrison, Tennessee to waste away and turn it into renewable energy. But with that, I'd humbly ask for your vote. Make sure you go vote. That's the most important thing. Thank you.
Thank you. Once again, on behalf of the League of Women Voters in the City of Murfreesboro, I want to thank all of our candidates for their participation this evening. I also want to thank the Director of Communications for the City of Murfreesboro, Alan Bozeman, and his staff for their help in presenting this program on Murfreesboro City TV tonight and making it available for later viewing. I want to encourage all of Murfreesboro citizens to vote. As we've said tonight, early voting begins on July 17th and goes through August 1st at any early voting location. Election Day is August 6th, and you can vote at any voting center in Rutherford County. To find your location or apply for an absentee ballot, you can visit election.rutherfordcounty.gov tn.gov. Also, we'd encourage everyone to be on the lookout for a nonpartisan Rutherford County voter guide that the League of Women Voters will be publishing this week. Remember, your vote counts. May we close tonight with a round of applause for our candidates.